Hi everyone, this is Luxthos, and today I want to make a quick video on my Path of Exile to Witch Infernalist build. So I've been playing for the past 2 days pretty much, and we've been building up a little bit of a minion build here with the Witch, and I get a lot of question on Twitch. What's your build? What's the support gem you're using? What's your talent path looking like, and all that good stuff. So we've been doing a lot of damage right now. We're doing really, really good. We are currently level 40, but I'm going to show you pretty much what I've been doing, what's my build currently looking like. My resistance are not looking too good right now, but I'm doing fine for now, so we'll figure that out later. So yeah, we've been able, the past 10 levels have been amazing ever since the build came together. I was struggling a little bit at the start. Minion wasn't too strong. It took a little bit to pick up, but now I'm absolutely obliterating bosses in seconds, and I'm killing everything on the map without too much issue. So I'm going to show you what I got, and I'm going to show you my gear. I'm going to show you my skills and all that stuff, and I'm going to try to keep it updated as much as possible, so I'll make multiple videos every time that I do major changes or update to my build. I don't currently plan to have like a build planner and everything because I'm kind of busy playing this, I'll be honest. But I'm going to try to explain and show pretty much everything, and let me know if you have any question. So the core of the build is currently right now we're Infernalist, so we have Infernal, summon Infernal Hound. So that's really, really good. So if you have the Infernalist Ascendancy as a Witch, I went and I grabbed immediately the Loyal Hellhound. It's been pretty good because it pretty much gives you 20% DR. So that's really, really, really nice. And he spreads some Ignite and skills with the amount of health that you have, which is really, really good, right? So 20% of his max health is dealt as fire damage, which is what is used for the Ignite trigger in a radius around him. So it's been really, really fun to use that. And pretty much what I'm using is I just got him Meat Shield right now because he was dying a lot because he's taking a large portion of my damage. It does reduces his damage, but because his damage is also based on his health, it pretty much comes down to the same damage. So he just ends up having a lot more health, and his Ignite is doing massive tick of damage, which is really, really cool. And then I just gave him Elemental Army, just because I wanted him to be like kind of the big tanky unit right now, so I'm giving him a little bit of elemental resistance, so that's been pretty cool. And then because I'm going with fire damage, I've been going with Skeletal Arsonists. It doesn't matter too much because you don't really have that much abilities. It's going to matter a lot more for bosses, but you don't have that much that skills fire damage at the moment. There's not really a lot of things. Actually, I think there's nothing currently on the Path build that actually increases your minion fire damage specifically. It's all about minion damage. But the cool thing is because everything we do is fire damage, I'm running with a curse called Flammability, which I'm going to cover in a second, which reduces enemy fire resistance. And Arsonist happens to be throwing bombs, which are doing fire damage, which is really, really cool. I don't really use their ability too much. I haven't been using it at all, actually. I just let them throw bombs, and they're doing giga damage, and it's been pretty good. And for them, I've been running Scatter Shot, so every time they throw a bomb, they actually throw 3. And then Acceleration just makes the projectile go faster because normally they throw it like in a big balloon. So in a big high jump, and it takes a while for it to land. And because of that, it tends to miss when enemies are walking by too fast, right? And right now I'm going with support attack speed. There's definitely better. So right now I have some support gem in my inventory that are level 2. But I'm not going to try to cover any level 2 support gem. If I can, because I've actually even removed one that I was using for my Raging Spirit, but I'm going to go down on that in a couple of seconds because it's not really fair with it. So I want to show the build and the progression a little bit. So I just went for a little bit of attack speed also because this makes their makes them attack less fast, right? 20% less attack speed. So they gain back 25 and then faster projectile. So they just end up throwing bombs. I have 6 of them right now. I have a massive amount of them. They just throw each of them 3 bombs at incredible speed, and it just blows up the screen. It is insane, super efficient. You're most likely going to be running maybe 3 or 4, unless you get really, really good gear, which I'm going to show you how in a second. But yeah, I'm very lucky, and I have a lot of spirit right now, which is really, really good. Raging Spirit, that's one of the core part of the build as well. So this is from a Spirit Gem. So there is Skill Gem and there's Spirit Gem. Spirit Gem is going to allow you to gain this little permanent buff here. So it's just something that you activate, right? So you right-click it, and when it's activated, it will retain 30 spirit. And every time you use a fire spell, it will summon Raging Spirit, right? And the really, really cool thing is right now these have persistence, which allows them to stay a bit longer because they have a very short duration. They have a very, very short duration, so you want to make sure they last a little bit longer. And then I'm making them do a little bit more fire damage with Fire Infusion. And then to trigger them, I use Flame Wall. And there's a cool trick with Fortress where it spawns currently 6 or 7 of them. I'm at 7 because they're high level, but for you it might be 6. So just literally like 2 Flame Wall, and then I get a whole army of 10, and they're just running around and they're just murdering everything, and it's kind of awesome. Flame Wall doesn't really do any damage. You can try if you want to lend it on top of the mob just so that the actual unit, the actual Raging Spirit themselves don't have to run, and then you don't waste their time, so that's kind of cool. And then faster casting speed, that way you're able to pop them faster, which is kind of cool. Pain Offering, I'll be honest, I'm not even using it right now. I did happen to get a Scepter that gives me back Skeletal Warrior right now, so I could sacrifice those every once in a while if I manage to hit them up, because it gives a really, really nice damage buff on everybody. And attack speed. So it can be quite nice for bosses, but a lot of the time it's kind of hard to figure out where your skeletons are. So I haven't been using it a lot too much. Unearth is really, really good while you're getting to this build. So this is going to be really, really nice. And when I'm in the actual world and the map and there's a lot of corpses, every once in a while I'll throw one. These minion will do insane amount of damage, especially with something like Brutality, because they do physical damage. This is going to make them do insane amount of damage, and they're going to act as like just body soak, right? So they're going to distract enemies, and they're going to take projectile for you, which is really, really good. It costs very little mana. You throw it out every once in a while. You'll get some free minions. Before you get the full build running, that's mostly what you're going to rely on Earth, with maybe the Archer, maybe the Arsonist, and maybe some Warriors, right? That's pretty much the only thing you'll be able to rely on until you're able to transition into Raging Spirits here. And then finally, I go with Flammability. I don't use this on regular monster, just when I find like a big elite that's fire resistant, that's not instantly dying, or obviously on bosses. So I recast it every couple of seconds, and it reduces their fire resistance. So it just makes them melt in like 2 seconds. And then I use a larger effect for it, and then I have lower mana cost, because this thing costs a lot of mana. So that's pretty cool to have that. So that's pretty much it for this. I have Raised Shield because I just found a new shield. So that's pretty cool. If I want to block a little bit of damage, I can decide to do that right now. And Skeletal Warrior comes from my staff. Not really needed with this build, but it's kind of nice to have it. You can go for Discipline as well. You can go for whatever. What is really, really, really important here, which blows my mind I was able to get this Scepter, but it is the +2 level skills. So plus skills is so important for minion build. It will scale your damage massively, because this increases my my Infernal Hound by +2 level, Arsonist by +2, Raging Spirit by +2. It is kind of insane. Everything that has the minion tag on it is getting increased by +2. So it is pretty crazy. It will scale. It will even scale the Warrior. They're level 13 right now, which is crazy. Which the Aura is level 10, because I have a +1 on my neck as well. I'm a lucky son of a bitch. So I got really lucky with that. So that's pretty cool. So that's what you're going to go for the gear. You really want to try to get +2 skill on your Scepter. What I try to do is check vendor. Every single vendor. Check if you can find one that already has the +2 on it. Or if you can find one that has increased spirit on it, or if you have one that has increased damage. Then you're going to go at your bench in town, right? So let me actually go back in town. You're going to go to your crafting stash, and you're just going to try to fish for certain of these affixes. It's going to be really, really, really useful, right? So that's what I would suggest. You're going to be using those orb. Make sure that you do use them while you're leveling up. So if you find one that's normal, just go for orb. Every time you find a Scepter, just use an Orb of Transmutation and try to fish for a +2 or +1. And then if you manage to get it, add more modifier, transfer it into a rare. So right now I'm waiting to get more Exalted Orbs so I can add more stats to this, but this is insane. I'm going to keep this staff for a very long time. That's going to be really, really good, right? So that's all you got to do. Just fish for these. Same thing with Necklace. Try to get that +1 minion skill. Really, really good. On chests, really important to try to get some spirits. It takes a while before you'll find chests that actually have spirits on them. But as you can see, I have 39 spirit on my chest, and I have 128 on my staff, which allows me to have 6 Arsonist, which is really insane. Everything else, just go for max life and resistance. That's pretty much it. Max life and resistance, max life resistance, and then stats, right? Intelligence, dexterity, and strength are going to be really, really good, so you can actually level those gem, and that you can actually equip some nice and decent gear, right? So my gear, I have some really good piece, and then I have some not so good piece like this. Completely useless. I mean, a little bit of life, a little bit of dex. Everything else is pretty much garbage. But yeah, pretty much go for what you can find and what you're able to get, and you're going to be doing pretty well. So that's pretty much it for the skills. Very straightforward. For the path, the cool thing about this build is that pretty much everything we do right now scales with health, right? So a big chunk of the damage is going to be the immolation aura around our hound, which scales off the health of the hound. And once you're able to get support gem level 2, you can get Infernal Legion, which you're going to socket into your Raging Spirit right here. Because this is going to do fire damage. Pretty much they're going to take 20% of their life as fire damage, but because they have high fire resistance, it's not going to kill them that fast, but then everything around them is going to melt because they're going to have a lot of HP. So that's really, really good. I'm not going to use it for now. I want to showcase the build without it because most people are not going to have this for like early to mid of their experience in leveling. So we're going to socket it afterward to show you where you can take this build. So that's going to be really, really good. For the path, pretty straight up, I went directly for minion damage. I went for life instead of damage. You could argue for it, but I was having trouble at the start with my minions dying constantly, so I definitely went for health. I went through here, got a couple stats. Doesn't really matter which order you get the stats into. Just try to shuffle them and try to adjust them to the level of your spell and what spell you're using and what you need for your gear. So that's pretty much it. I went all the way up the path. I had Minion revive here, but I do need to change this to add it back again. But I needed to get some stats. So next level, I'm going to actually I can put a point right now. There we go. So we're back to it because your arsonists are gonna die sometimes, and you kind of want them to revive a little bit faster, which is nice. So I got like the res, which I thought was cool, a little bit of attack speed, and then I went all the way up here. And then I went all this way here. I didn't get the res because I have enough. Went all for the damage. And then I went for the physical damage reduction and chaos res. So that way they don't die as much because they were dying all over the place. That was really, really annoying. I'm eventually going to go for area of effect because I think I have a lot of cool things that could get increased from area of effect. This eventually could be cool so I can have more arsonist. But I still don't know if I'm going to be using them in endgame or if I'm just going to be focusing on the hound. But I think I might use them for a while. They're doing a lot of damage right now. I went down this path, and this is where you can start juicing up your minions. You can get 25% damage increase here and 25% increased health on top of some additional node on the way for more damage, which is completely insane. And then you can get an all res here if they need more. And then we're going to go all the way back down to flesh crafting, which is going to give them energy shield. It's going to make them even tankier. So far with my current build, my current gear, my current stats, I'm super tanky. Like, I mean, I'm taking damage, but I can dodge away to use a potion, and it hasn't been too bad. Obviously, at some point, I'm probably going to want to go for some energy shield stuff, maybe. So we're going to have to try to figure out how to increase our tankiness in the future. We're definitely going to have to experiment with this, see if there's a lot of good defensive node here, which shield like increases the defensive, your defenses from equipped shield, so that can double it up. That's really, really good. We'll have to check it out. I'm not 100% sure. There's no more like node life, or there's very little of them. So it's all going to be about energy shield, armor, evasion, and some cool stuff like that. I don't have any uniques yet, so like normally you want to build around at least one unique in a lot of builds. So we're waiting to see what we find yet. But right now, that's what I'm going with, and it's been going really, really, really well. So I'm going to go ahead and showcase the build real quick so you guys can see, you know, what the hell we're talking about here. Because I know a lot of people are struggling with Minion right now. I have to go do a quest at the moment in the jungle. Oh, is it the jungle ruin? Let me check real quick. Quick blooper, you know. Just got to go figure it out. I have to go in the infested jungle, infested barrens. There we go. Not that I'm going to try to do the quest, but I just want to show you the kill speed. It's quite interesting. So we're going to try to find some monster real quick. We're going to try to find some monster around this area. You'll see that the Arsonists will absolutely obliterate any monster that they see. They're throwing massive amount of bombs. And I haven't even spawned a single Raging Spirit yet. I haven't spawned a single Raging Spirit. This is all the Hound and the Arsonist that are just obliterating monster. And it's feeling really, really good. And then if we want to, we can even start casting the Flame Wall. So the Flame Wall is going to summon these. And then they're just going to go to town and absolutely just murder everything. And as you can see, I can take a hit. It doesn't matter. I'm pretty tanky right now. And it feels pretty good, right? So these are just going to run around and they're going to murder everything. And then if you end up finding a pretty tough enemy, well, you just curse them down and they're going to pretty much die. So there's not a lot of things here to showcase like how the build works. But, I mean, you know, I'm trying to get as much density as I can here. But, yeah, pretty much you can see how powerful the build is. There's a lot of creature. I could go try to fight like a quick boss. I would just have to remember if there's a quick one that I can kill. But there we go. Everything is pretty much melting from the damage here. And that's not even like the full build because I can equip this gem here on Raging Spirit later. And now you'll see that the Raging Spirit are actually like on literal fire. And they're going to be melting everything around them in a matter of seconds. Even like big elites that have energy shield. There's absolutely nothing that's going to be resisting your minions. Everything is just going to melt down. And every once in a while, like I said, you find a corpse, you know, throw your Unearth at them, get some additional minion to tank for you, and you're pretty much going to be good to go. So I'll try to keep I'll try to keep everybody updated. I'll try to make a little bit more video about this build, but so far I am cruising through the story. Level 5 or 10 to 30 were pretty rough. I'm not gonna lie. Before you get Raging Spirit, there's a couple of areas that you're trying to make it. You're trying to figure out like you don't have enough minion, you don't have enough spirit. It's tough. You gotta dodge. You gotta use your contagion, a lot of other spells. You gotta help your minion as much as you can. But I just wanted to show you what's possible. As soon as you hit like level 35 to 40, you start having that Raging Spirit, and you're just going to obliterate everything on the map. So we'll try to push this build into endgame, and we'll make another video. Until then, come see me on Twitch. Leave a comment, leave a like, all that good stuff. Bye-bye, my friend. Take care.